Hey, Darrel Olson from Jackson Kayaks. We're here at the East Coast Paddle Festival, or now known as the Charleston Paddle Festival, and we're going to go down to the Hobie section and do an interview with Kevin Nakata. So stay tuned. We'll have a good time doing that. All right. We'll see you down there. Bye. All right, this is Darrel Olson from YakAngler.com, and we're out here at the East Coast Paddle Festival, as it used to be known, and now I think it's called the Charleston Outdoor Festival, but we like to think of it that it's a great family event. They got shooting sports over on the other side, classrooms, they got all sorts of
mountain
great
climbing
stuff.
and
Mountain
biking,
climbing. Yeah.
all sorts of things.
Yep, and we're here to interview Kevin Nakada from Hobie, and he's on their technical sport team over there, and he's the regional, or actually the pro staff coordinator or something like that.
Yep.
And so send your resumes to Kevin, you know, who knows. But he also operates Sea Samurai Kayak Guide Service down there in La Jolla. La Jolla.
You gotta make it sound fancy.
Gotta make it sound fancy. Down there in San Diego area, I'll just go with that. You want to tell us a little bit about your enterprise there?
Yeah, so I started Sea Samurai before I worked for Hobie, and it's fishing guide service, take people on kayaks. A lot of people who've never fished before, so it's always a new experience. And take them out, and we catch good sized fish, you know, upwards of, we catch up to 60-pound sea bass sometimes, 30-pound yellowtail, that kind of stuff, but love it. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. So we fished a little bit yesterday out here after the first day of the show.
Yep.
And I gotta watch you flipping, and then we were trying for some of these largemouth bass that are legendary probably out here in this lake, which you wouldn't think there were here. But
well, after
you hooked
yesterday, yeah.
you hooked in a big one, 23, maybe 24 inches.
Yeah, it was a good fish.
It was a very good fish there, and one of the exciting things that I liked about fishing with you is that I saw the kid come out of you. I mean, you hooked into that fish. There was screaming, yelling. I had to run over and, you know, do the hero shot for you, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was something that you had to have the hero shot for. It was a
You
huge
took some
fish.
good photos. I was impressed.
Well, thanks. Thanks. But, you know, I enjoy seeing excitement like that out of people that are kayak fishing, or even fishing in general. I mean, it's like, I'm 60 years old and I get that excited. But to
Yeah.
see even you, I don't know.
I'm still a kid.
You're still a kid to me. But you were so excited. I mean, and that whole thing. It's like it was your first fish, but I know it isn't. But it was like that first fish.
When I saw that fish come up, it got me excited.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh crap, Darrel! It's a big one." So
yeah, so we'll probably use that one for one of the videos or still photos for this interview on
Sweet.
there. We'll show that in
Awesome.
there along with some other stuff. But
pause for a second.
so go ahead. But you know, you're going to see some interference going on here. We've got the paddle festival, a lot of background noise, so it's going to be great. This is what we're here for, is to introduce people to kayak fishing.
That's right.
Or even paddling or touring kayaks. You know, we're all about getting the people on the water in a kayak. I've known Kevin now, I think 3 years. This is our third paddle festival together, and,
Yep.
and you're a great guy. I can see.
Thank you.
I can see how you're a great asset for Hobie on the coordinator team for that, because I'm sure you're modeling the whole team on your perspective on how a kayak representative needs to be.
Is that how everyone talks at YakAngler?
It could be.
I love that.
Maybe just Darrel.
When's our next interview?
Well, we can do more. This is our second one today. We lost the first one, but I take it as a privilege to have really known you for the 3 years, and even though we've only fished one time together, I'm hoping that someday, you know, I've seen some videos of the sea bass fishing out on Santa Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
When I lived in California, I used to hunt up on Santa Catalina.
Yeah, yeah.
And back in the late 70s, but Never did fish that area,
Oh.
and I would just love to get back out there and go on an excursion out the sea bass or whatever
You're
calling it.
welcome to come anytime.
All right, we'll do that. So let's talk about how you got started in kayak fishing.
It was about 2007. I had a friend, coworker, who I worked in tackle retail, and he was really jacked up about these kayak fishing and Hobies and stuff like that. And he had the older Outbacks, and he's like, "Why don't we go fishing one day?" And we out there in California or in San Diego, we have spotted bay bass, which is kind of like a grouper, mini grouper.
Yeah.
And we were just having fun catching 1 pound, 2 pound fish, and had a blast. I got hooked. I mean, seriously hooked. And so, 9 years later, we're sitting here and now working for the company that I started fishing off kayaks, with. So that's how I got started.
All right. 9 years. It's a lot of time on there. And I don't know. It seems to be going by fast.
It does,
doesn't it?
It's I think for everyone in this sport, it goes by incredibly fast. Guys that were fishing 5 years ago, it feels like actually for them and for me too, and for everyone in the sport, it feels like it's progressing so quickly.
Yeah.
That it feels like that was ancient history.
Yeah. When I moved down to Charleston, it was in 2009, and about partway through that year, I got into kayak myself, and geez, I didn't realize I've been fishing that long out of one myself.
Right.
But the first time I went in a kayak, I thought to myself, "There's no reason why I can't have a fishing rod."
Right.
And that's how I got. So the next time the wife took me out kayaking, I took a fishing rod, and that's how it all started. And then now, eventually, 2,000 kayaks later, I'm still searching out maybe for that perfect kayak, but you never know what it's going to be. But,
Never know.
But anyway, on there. So I could think of a lot of stuff in the early years when I first started, what I wish I would have learned first. Is there anything that you wish you would have, what lesson learned that you would have learned first thing about kayak fishing?
If I had one thing to take away, and I wish I had learned right off the bat, it's that, being able to be comfortable on water and to have all that experience right off the bat, taking all that in is extremely important, and being able to saturate that knowledge and to apply it the next time you go out. And that's what really makes a difference out there. And I wish I had known that, because a lot of things I might have missed when I was younger.
Yeah.
Not that I'm much older now.
No. So 9 years ago, how old were you? Just not we don't want to tell people how old you are now.
17.
17.
Yeah. 17 years old. So that's I was for my prom. Instead of going to my senior prom, I went night fishing on a kayak. So I just was like,
all right,
why go to prom when you can go fishing?
Were you ever an Eagle Scout?
I was Boy Scout. I've only made it up to.
Well, the reason why I'm saying is because when I was in scouting as an adult leader, one of the biggest reasons why a kid never got to Eagle Scout was because women. Evidently, to be a great fisherman applies to the same thing. You weren't interested in women until you probably got that big fat pig yesterday.
Are you saying I'm a late bloomer?
You could be. All right. Well, we better get this back on track.
I'm going to get in trouble for this video.
Well, you might. I might for sure do. They might not ask me to do these again. So we've seen the yellowtail, or I would assume that was a tuna, but you corrected me on the first interview when we did this take. And then the largemouth bass, seeing your excitement on that. What is your favorite targeted species?
Definitely yellowtail. And it is like we were talking about earlier, an amberjack.
Okay.
So it's the same family, it's the jack family. And man, they hit crazy hard, and they're just like a redfish. They do all sorts of weird things. They eat on the surface, they eat down deep, get them all sorts of different techniques. Really awesome fish. And then if I was to fish anywhere else around the world, my second, or not around the world, but this country, it would be redfish.
Okay.
Redfish is awesome.
Yeah, redfish are fantastic. I like fishing for those on there.
Catching them in this shallow water, maybe no bigger rush in the world.
Oh yeah.
It's insane.
Oh yeah. They're fantastic. Especially when they take that line and scream it across that grass.
Yeah.
It's great. So here just recently in Charleston last weekend, we had a tragedy. A couple kayak guys went out didn't have their PFDs, you know, and one was found 2 miles out south of Seabrook Island, and they launched here off this island here, James Island, and so it was really bad. One guy is still lost, so they're trying to do a recovery mode. They haven't found him yet. So this brings us into the safety part. And I know I'm steering you towards that we need to wear PFDs, but you know, PFDs should be a common sense thing that everyone should be wearing them. Is there another safety tip that you think would be vitally important that maybe even fits the same scenario?
In general, I think everyone nowadays in this community, the kayak fishing community, is really on PFDs. And I also believe that PFDs are extremely important. No matter if they're inflatable or a belt, inflatable, having one on you is extremely important. But being able to be comfortable with your vessel and know the conditions that you're going to be able to right your boat in properly and all these other things, and just have a little bit of experience goes a long way.
Yeah.
And before you even think about going out to do that kind of stuff, at least spend time with someone that has done it before, or go out with a few people so that you're safe on the water. But in my opinion, the experience is the most important thing. Be comfortable with your vessel and to go out there, and if something bad happens, know what to do.
Right, and I find that too, because usually when I get a new kayak, and I'll go into some, even water I might be familiar with, sometimes I just don't feel that comfortable because I haven't been in it 100 times yet.
Right.
And because there's that throwing thing, you know, I'm comfortable in a kayak, but one of my experiences when I went from a wide-based kayak for fishing the flats, and then I got me a kayak narrow to go, let's say, out to the jetties and fish out there, or some offshore type stuff. To go from something wide to narrow, I can feel that there, and a lot of times, you know, then I get a little leery. Maybe I don't want to feel like sitting side saddle right away because I'm not confident in that kayak yet.
Definitely.
And it's very important. You got to grow into that kayak for confidence purposes.
Absolutely.
And no matter what your experience is.
That's what I was about to say. It doesn't matter if you've been doing this for 15 years or 2 years. Anytime you switch a boat from a wider to to skinnier or whatever new boat you're getting, it's always good to go out there and test it, and test your experience and your capabilities.
Right. Yeah, and I've learned that one of the things I've taken away from the game.
And wear a PFD.
Yes, wear a PFD on there. What's your next big fishing dream? What is your fishing dream to be here? I mean, Hobie has the world thing. You haven't done that yet. I haven't seen your name on the roster, but you know, I would think maybe as a team coordinator, you should be able to get to go on a trip to manage those teams. But
it's in the U.S. this year. Cross fingers, we get to go. But you know, fishing it, I really get a kick off of watching guys from all across the world come to fish it. So for me, fishing it would be great, but I just love to watch it and really see how these guys who've never fished on this side of the world, tackle it. It's as much as easy it is for us to consider how to go fish for redfish, and we've never even seen redfish are going after these things. But my next adventure is going to be tarpon fishing off a kayak, and I'm going with Ross Gallagher, great guy, really knows his stuff, and I'll be there in a week and a half, at the end of April 2016.
We might have to do an interview with him after you're done, and see what kind of stories he has about you.
I'll be on my best behavior for that one.
But tarpon fishing is like a dream of mine, you know, and some of the boondoggles that we've been down to the Everglades and stuff, I've hooked into them, get them to the kayak, and it's always that last rush. They weren't big ones. They're like, maybe the biggest one was like 30, 36 inches, but you know, you get them up to that kayak, and there was always that last rush, and boom, I'd done something wrong, broke the line. Maybe I tightened up the reel up a little bit too much and should have just let them run. But
you can just keep talking about tarpon fishing for this interview. I'll take in every tip if I can get it.
Well, I'm not the expert, but we can get you some people that are. So you got that trip coming up. That's a dream of yours. So after this dream trip that you're actually going to do, you have a plan for another big adventure?
It's more of like a fantasy.
Okay.
But if I had one fishing trip to plan out for kayak fishing, it would be tackling a 500 to 400 pound bluefin up in the Northeast.
Nice.
A really big one, and
Yeah.
you know, it's got to be possible. It's just a matter of being able to hold on long enough.
Yeah.
There was that one video where the guy hooked into a really big bluefin, at least he thought, and I think so too, but he got towed out like 7 miles. Did you see that video?
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh, he's just getting screamed on like, it's great. But I'd love to do that one day.
Yeah, it sounds like a good adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah. On there. And I hope you're successful with that. Yeah. Well, we might leave some of that. Who knows? 9 years of kayak fishing, there's got to be some tip. You know, I was watching you doing a lot of standing up and flipping and letting the wind kind of drift you along the shoreline for this bass yesterday. And, you know, I kind of like sometimes watching other people fish because I can learn some stuff. So what kind of fishing tip would you have for somebody that's just either been in fishing for a while or just getting into it for out of a kayak?
My biggest tip would be to always consider your next cast or your next, whatever your move is, wherever you're going to be, whatever you're doing, whatever pattern you're going to be fishing, technique. Anytime you can prepare for that additional cast, you can always, if you're thinking about where you're going next, you can position yourself properly, you can make a good cast, you can think about how you're going to pull that fish out. But I really think that's important. Like, you know, with our kayaks, right? Whether it's a paddle or a pedal, you're always under human power. The wind's affecting you and things like that. So you can't get a trolling motor, put your foot on it, turn it, unless you have that. But you really have to think about where you're going to be next, because if you get in that tree, you're toast.
Yeah.
Your fish that you're fishing for, you know, just wandered away.
And I'm an expert getting in the trees along shoreline.
I was with you there yesterday, trust me. There was a lot of spiders in these boats.
Yeah, you
Carter
know.
got some snakes, but you know.
Well, we were lucky. I didn't
Bad
see
luck
any.
like that.
I didn't see any snakes, but
No, that's all for Justin Carter.
Yeah. All right, now for the fun question here. Our last question. And
Awesome.
It's if you're stranded on an island
Okay.
and you have one lure and a kayak, and I know where we're at here. We're at the Paddle Festival and we're in the Hobie area, and I'm guessing that's going to be your one kayak. But I don't know exactly which one. But
Is it fair to say that my answer is unbiased?
it could be, you know, but I don't see a problem with how your answer is.
Okay.
And so, what would your two choices be for the kayak and for your fishing lure, and why would you select those two?
Okay. If I had, and let's answer this first. Am I fishing freshwater or salt, or am I on a saltwater or freshwater body of water?
I'm going to say I'm going to leave you decide where you're at.
Okay.
And really, maybe I'm not. Maybe I think we should steer you off to the saltwater, because at least in a lake, even like the Great Lakes, you can eventually get to a short one.
Yeah.
In an ocean or a sea, it's kind of huge, right?
Right.
You know. So let's go with the saltwater aspect.
If I had one boat and one lure, it would be the Adventure Island. You know, obviously by Hobie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it unbiased. But I would take an adventure, and here's the reason why. It's not inflatable.
Yeah.
And it's gonna have a long life. But the reason why I say it's not inflatable is because how are you gonna land on this island with with the Adventure Island?
Yeah.
But if it just magically happened, it would be an Adventure Island, and I could sail it. I could pedal it around, I could use a lot less energy by sailing it, and I could troll for whatever may be around me. And usually there's pelagics around this island, I'm guessing. Whether there is or not, doesn't matter. But then I could use that to move my stuff around camp, and then eventually, if I'm going to go, you know, try to find a way to self-rescue myself, eventually find someone to help me out, I could do that. The other thing that the lure I would use is a Rapala. I don't know what it is about Rapalas, but they catch everything. But I use, you know, Magnums, like a Magnum 30, sardine pattern preferably, because just about everything eats a sardine pattern. And then, yeah, I would use that, and then I'd hopefully catch something to survive. or else I'm going to be eating a lot of shellfish.
All right. Well, nothing wrong with shellfish either. But so let me get this right. So you're going to be deserted on an island, and you're going to try to search and get home somehow, and be lost on an adventure island.
Yes.
So stranded on an adventure island instead of a real island.
Let's not mistake the marketing behind that, okay? Let's not get that confused.
Okay, all right.
You're not going to get lost on an adventure island.
No, you won't. Kevin will, but no, nobody else
I will. Yes.
All right, well, that concludes our interview, Kevin, and I'd like to thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And hopefully our viewers are also enjoying Jameson Redding's Inside and Out on YakAngler, and you've enjoyed these other interviews we've done in the past with what we call our professional kayak fishermen or pro staff, whatever you want to call us. But I hope you're finding some good info on this, and if you're new to kayak fishing, some great tips today by Kevin Nakada.
Awesome.
All right, thank you.
Alrighty.